Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, Director's Cut. We opened the door last time, let's go through it and see what we find. Now, it's still kind of entirely possible. We did need the flashlight to move forward. It's possible that we are going to need the tripod to move further. Like all he saw was the sign and then it just jumped me back to Paris. And he gets to Paris really fast. Wait, no, that's not the case at all. We are back to the book, the journal, and that tells me that we are playing director's cut stuff now. So we're playing as Nicole again. Obviously this is added in. What are we specifically trying to do? I don't really know.
No.
We have this whole second amount of items, and you can just see the number of items here is about 3 extra things than what we've managed to collect in the original game at all. There's several different things we can look at, but I don't know what our actual goal is right now, so let's just click on everything in the room and then leave. So the director's cut.
I had messages waiting to be played.
Okay, that's gonna help.
You have 3 messages.
Interesting.
Hey, Collard, it's me, your favorite editor. Guess what? I'm gonna give you a second chance. I need somebody to write the TV column. Pays lousy, so what's new? If you're interested, drop by the office. In fact, drop by the office anyway. We have to talk, Nico. That story of yours I spiked. It won't go away. You've made some dangerous enemies out there.
Hey, Nico, it's your old pal. I mean, your new pal, George. Whoa, Ireland. It's a whole different country. And I got some amazing news for you. Gem of a story, in fact. Oh, gotta go. Yeah, fella here's got a drink lined up for me. See you tomorrow, Nico. Sláinte. Yep, only here for a day and I'm speaking the lingo like a local.
Mademoiselle Collard, this is American Carchon. I wanted to thank you for being so understanding when... Come to lunch, why don't you? Tomorrow. I might have more news. There's a Monsieur Merlon coming to see me this evening. He says he knows why Pierre was murdered. In fact, he'll be here shortly. I shall let you know what he says. Goodbye, dear girl. Till tomorrow.
Merlin? Oh my God. Merlin's the killer. I better get over there and warn her now. When it came to being two-faced, Imelda was up there with the best. I owed her nothing, but I couldn't just let her die.
So that
I
puts us
arrived to
right
find the Palais
through this
Royale
area.
courtyard deserted. I only hoped that I'd beaten the assassin here. I had to warn Imelda before it was too late.
So the weird thing is this totally looks like a ladder. So I'm gonna just click on things and see what happens.
I unhooked the first wire. I released the second wire. Even with both wires removed, the statue remained upright.
So push it.
If I could deconstruct this, I could deconstruct anything.
So we could certainly go try the door first. But yeah, you can definitely see how adding actions to Nicole's story and changing her from just being this character who is
Locked?
sitting in the room
No
the
way
whole
was I going to
game,
break through a door like that.
to giving her her own B story, if not a story. And if they were going to do a full remake, they would tell the story completely from her perspective, eliminate all of the original game and George Stobbart's parts, and just have him show up every now and then and act kind of as Nicole acted in the original game.
The intercom system wasn't working. Bad sign. Somebody had cut the wire.
So up we go. I kind of wonder if maybe there's not going to be that much as far as gameplay in this section. Maybe we'll just end up getting another cipher message and that's it. We're seeing a lot of cutscenes back to back. Even from the original game, that Ireland section had 3 cutscenes, all within about an hour and 30 minutes worth of play.
The plastic sheet was thick and strong. I'd need more than my hands to tear it.
So, let's see. Do we want to try the hairpin?
No.
Do we want to try the shell? Guess the shell works. And now just stick your hand through the hole and open the door. Which, that's not where the hole was last time. It was up here in some odd place. But maybe that's just a perspective thing. Yeah. See, the hole is kind of high of where the handle would be. Now, this room seems to have nothing to click on, so we're probably just going to find a dead body of Imelda, and that's it. Again, we're over here. You almost get to the point where you wonder if this extra gameplay could have been its own thing, if they had just doubled the length of it, perhaps. And there's certainly not enough here to be its own game. And it ties into the story too well. I missed a couple things in my room that that I could have clicked on, but I guess it doesn't
Nico?
matter.
Don't worry, you're going to be alright.
You know that isn't true.
It was Merlin, wasn't it?
Dressed as a cavalier. How absurd. You came to warn me, didn't you?
I must be crazy.
Let me see you, Nico.
All this time you were just using me. Which one is the real Imelda?
You are an extraordinary girl. Thierry would have been so proud of you.
You didn't know my father.
So like him. Something about the eyes. I wish we'd had time to get to know each other.
She was gone. She cheated me, lied to me, used me. But why?
So apparently she did know my father, and we're on to page 9, and it looks like the police won't investigate, they'll just cover it up again. Let's search the body, I suppose.
Even in death, Imelda looked the same. Beautiful, inscrutable. The Ice Queen alone in her ice palace.
So she's got a locket and earrings. A little awkward bend of the arm here, but not terrible. The art style certainly does not look like the rest of the game because, of course, this is new art.
I opened it. Inside was a tiny gold key.
Ooh, there's a tiny lock in the box that I have.
I took the key. I had to leave. I knew I could never return.
She's been in this house twice and there's been 2 murders. She's certainly going to get implicated. So let's click on the other things before we just come over here and open the box, because I think that's all we're going to do.
My first teddy. Never had a boyfriend as loyal as him.
Let's see. Phone. I wonder if there's a specific reason
There wasn't anyone
why
that I needed to call.
they blocked out the windows here and closed the curtains. I couldn't think of a reason.
It was a photograph of my father. The first one I ever took. With the first camera he ever bought me.
Let's see if we have any new messages.
You have no messages.
And let's play the music. Let's see. It's the same music, I think, each time.
No, I'm not giving up.
But see, as soon as I walk away and start triggering parts of the game that are important, it plays its own music and fades the other one out. Now, I have to...
The box was carved by my father. It never had a key.
I have
The
to-
elephant on the lid was a perfect match to Carchon's.
Stop talking so I can talk. I have to really call BS on this. There's clearly a lock on there. There's clearly a key that in this box clearly opens. And I don't think anybody who had a box for even a few months wouldn't go find a screwdriver, a lockpick, a bobby pin. These tiny locks aren't really difficult to pick. At the very least, I would assume that at some point they would just get frustrated and try to break the box open. The idea that it just never had a key and this important piece of evidence, whatever is in here, has been sitting here for years now, and she just never bothered to even open it is ridiculous. And then you have a slight problem with the two gold keys looking a little bit similar. Not too similar, but a little similar.
I took out the key.
Like a toy key
I
would
couldn't
have probably
believe it.
unlocked that.
Imelda's key opened my father's box. I dreaded what I was going to find inside.
Well, it's a picture of Imelda that goes in between the other two, so all three of them were in Africa. And there's a letter here that's probably going to explain things.
It was a photograph of Imelda. But why here? In my father's box. I felt as if a black hole had swallowed me up. Imelda and Carchon grinning. While behind them a village was being razed to the ground. Its people butchered. And there, next to them, staring out at me across the years, my own father.
So
There was a letter. I feared there was even worse to come.
it could be possible that they were captured, forced to smile as a kidnapping plot. That could be the twist, or it could be that they are just a group of killers. Let's read the letter and see what happened. Imagine if you've done something
Hotel
this
St.
horrible.
George, Algiers, Friday. My darling Thierry,
You
by the
should
time you read this, you'll be safely
get
out of
rid of
Africa.
evidence
You need
against
not
you.
fear. Pierre and the organization do not know who you're really working for, or about us. Did you think I would betray you? I could not. You wanted me to leave him, but I don't have your courage. I know too much of what has been going on here. They would find me and they would kill us both. Enjoy your life in Paris, Thierry. Your life of honor, of patriotic duty. Do they give medals to spies? No. They'll just give you a funny job in an embassy somewhere. I could never share that with you. Imagine me, a diplomat's wife. So I must stay here with Pierre, the two of us bound together by what we have done to this country. Au revoir, my love. You will be in my heart until I die. Imelda. Suddenly everything made sense. My father had been working undercover for the government. He was one of the good guys after all. He and Imelda must have fallen in love. She'd found out who he really was, so he had to leave. It had broken her heart, but she had never revealed it to anyone. I knew I couldn't either. Whatever he was doing, he'd had good reason to keep it secret. I decided I would respect that and tell nobody.
So we get a clear example here where she's finding out evidence to close the director's cut stuff, but then resolving to tell nobody about it. So it doesn't conflict with the fact that she doesn't tell anything to George next time we get back to the original game.
I knew it was George. For a moment I was tempted to pretend that I was out, or ask him to go away and come back later. But then... Come in.
Hello, George.
And so this is where the old game would have started. Or continued.
So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with Doyle and a couple of the guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead.
And you say Pigram has disappeared?
Without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
So what's interesting is that we
Pigram's gem?
get
The
no
Templar's
resolution about
Whoever
the dead
Jacques
guy.
Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man.
So I can show her the new items I have, I suppose?
Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah. Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's your problem, sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless junk like little boys.
You never know when useless junk might come in handy.
Yeah, the director's cut content does not work with Nicole's personality. She's just kind of a comedy character in the main game. Just scolding him for having useless junk while George is running around picking up all the useless junk you could possibly have. And in the reflection of the director's cut revelation we just had, she should be way sadder. She should have information she's not giving him. It should have been its own game, really. Or perhaps a prequel that happened several months before. If she was, say, investigating the death of Yamada, who was killed in Japan, she could have been in a completely different area, done all of that investigation. It could have been months before the main game started. And then you could have played all of that and then just have in the menu, do you want to play the original game? Or would you like to play the prequel, the director's cut content that's all at the beginning? And that might work a little bit better, but it probably doesn't even work that well even then, because still the characterization, still the quality, and everything else is just very conflicting because of the vast amount of time that has happened since the original game was created and the director's cut content was created.
Do you want to look after the gem?
No, George. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
So, let's look at the scroll again. I guess we have
Let's
to do
take
that.
another look at the manuscript.
So, a picture of a hanged man.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a gem supported by a tripod.
A sword and a bull, and the gem and a tripod.
A knight with a crystal ball. The knight's scroll bears a phrase in Latin. Through my teachings, you will be enlightened.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
There's a guy working on a loom.
So there's no hanged man on this.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man.
Well,
I can't sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lopinot at the Kron Museum. And why don't you see if Rosso has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
so go to the museum, check that out, and talk to the police. I also kind of think maybe because of the hanged man
I
being
so
a
much
card.
wanted to talk to George about everything that had happened, but I knew I never could. My father's connection to Africa would have to remain a secret forever. His bravery would be known only to the government and to me. Revealing it would just damage his memory. People would take the story and twist it. Before long, he would be the villain and Carchon would be the hero. I know how they do that. I'm a journalist.
So they just froze on a scene, a single frame there, and added all that dialogue, which sounds so much better than the other audio recordings. They really needed to redo all the audio in the game. And that's kind of the problem of some of these games and remakes. That I don't know if this game was specifically Kickstarted, but there's certainly a lot of remakes of games that are like that, and the Kickstarter just simply doesn't give enough money to afford to do a remake properly. So there's still a problem here. Let's talk to the guy and see if Lova knows here. Let's see. I've got some conversations I can talk about, but which one?
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
I guess Ross does know
it
about
doesn't mention
the temple,
John D.
the Knights
at
of the
all.
Templar.
Most remiss.
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician.
And see,
but
this is conversation we've already had.
Teacher. He taught me the alphabet.
In fact, he's telling me a rather long
19 letters of it.
conversation
the bottom row of the chart was
that doesn't
too small
matter.
even for him to read. So he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied art and did
Let's
all
see if
my
I click if I can skip this.
At your age?
Nope. Yeah, well, yes, I can click and skip. I don't know why I said nope there.
I found this gem at a medieval site in Ireland.
That means nothing to me, monsieur.
How did you manage to get this job?
I had the right qualifications, a military manner, squeaky shoes, and an irrational hatred of children.
Does this white powder mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Thanks for your help.
So, there's nothing different here. And we could hide in there. And we may have to do that, but that's probably not the right solution. Almost certainly there's nothing at Rujari, otherwise they would have thrown us out to talk to the flower lady who's psychic. Which, by the way, she was the only help here before the question marks. So let's go talk to Ross and find out if he's found anything new. He's not here, though. Detective Rousseau.
It was just some police paperwork, a search warrant.
Yeah. Wouldn't keep search warrants or something like that just on the front of your... where everybody could read it. That would be a violation of privacy laws and hurt the case.
Sergeant Moo?
Yes.
Let's ask about all of these people, I guess.
Have you heard of a man called Marquet?
Yes. He used to be known as the Mole of Montmartre. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his rivals.
Interesting. So now we know he's at a hospital. Let's find out which one.
Which hospital was Marquet taken to?
The Hagenmeyer Clinic in the Avenue des Hérissons.
And see, the audio just cut when he started talking, and then it starts again. It's kind of weird.
Why was Marquet known as the Mole of Montmartre?
Because he lived in Montmartre, I suppose.
Yeah, but why the mole?
I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim.
We already did
I've
this
been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see.
Outside, they stopped.
Could you just...
One looked like their name...
No.
Let's ask about this.
That is not a good idea.
Showing them the plaster is not a good idea. Let's show them this.
Maybe not.
So some of the items, they didn't even think of solutions.
See you later, Sergeant.
And I can't talk to Rose, but it didn't really need to talk to him either. So we've now got the hospital that we can go to. And that's good because we were kind of running out of things I thought of that I could actually do. I guess right now there's no question or no hints, but I guess that's fine. So let's go ahead and save the game and see how far through the game we are now. The percentages in their own right would be knocked around by the director's cut stuff. See, we're at 48% now, and I've had this programming running for almost a day, which that doesn't really mean anything, does it? We haven't been playing for a day. Anywho, that's gonna be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me further, go to my main YouTube page. On the right is a button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want a friend to follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a nice evening.